communication from her.
Right.
Ah, hi, Becky.
But you don't even hear her. That's the other crazy thing.
Well, she
All right,
shows
we
up
are
on a chat
live.
message.
Welcome to this week's edition of Huntley Fall Fest preview. We are going to be talking with an amazing band here in just a second. September 25th, 26th, 27th at Huntley Fall Fest, Denke Park in the Huntley Park District grounds. It's right off 47, just north of 90, so it's very easy to get to. Sponsored by First National Bank of Omaha. And we run the car show, we run the carnival. We do a whole bunch of fun stuff. Like today, I was hanging out with one of these amazing guys at Sohop Brewery this morning, canning our beer. Oh, I don't have our beer. Beck, can you bring our beer over?
Sounds like a tough job you got there, Jim.
Yeah, so we're brewing two beers. We're brewing an Oktoberfest and then Huntley Fall Fest IPA, and we canned the IPA today. And when I say we, I had nothing to do with it. Jim actually had a lot to do with it. So that's fun. But, you know, we'll have a lot of fun. And, you know, tonight's conversation, look at that. There it is. Tonight's conversation is with modern day Romeos. Welcome, guys. How you guys doing?
I'm still waiting to hear who the amazing band is.
Right. So Huntley Fall Fest IPA right there.
Jim Wydell, you're on mute again.
He's probably got a little child running in the back.
Joey was banging on a garbage can, so I'm trying to mute it as much as possible.
Future
Romeos, we're on the can. Can you see that?
Oh, look at
You guys
this.
made the can.
18
made a can.
years. 18 years, we finally made a can.
Not my favorite kind of but a close second.
You guys are well? Everybody's well?
We're well.
happy?
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah, we're
So
doing good.
I'm going to just start this thing off. Perfect. You said it, 18 years. I mean, how does it feel to be a band for 18 years?
How does it feel to be 18 years? Well, it's an accomplishment. I still shake my head that we
you
look
guys
exactly
collectively can buy porn now as a band, right?
We can't buy cigarettes anymore, but that's okay. We don't smoke, so. But yeah, it's kind of mind-boggling sometimes when you think about it. It seems like it hasn't been that long when sometimes it does. So.
How much has it changed in 18 years? Seriously, you guys. I have photos from quite a while ago, including the one that I'm using as a background that is blurred out. But I have photos that, you know, I look at those photos and you guys are young. Holy smokes. I mean, before you're married, before you
How many kids did we have when we started this band?
4.
Right.
Four. How many do we have now?
Wait, Jake, Natalie,
20, I think.
Brandon,
20 kids.
Now we have 20.
20 kids.
Amazing. That is amazing.
That's
So who can anyone guess what year that is? You want to go around and guess the year of that?
06. I think it's 2006.
I'll say 2009.
Well, 2006 is that okay? Answer this for me because I can't see it because it's blurry. Is it on a big stage? Is it like in the grass or is it still?
You can't really
On a
see that.
stage. On a
It looks
stage.
like a big stage. That did not look like one of the first stages that we played.
No, 2006 was our first year, and we were on a small stage that was like in the parking lot, but before in front of where the big stage is now. So I'm gonna say I think I see my blue drum set. So I'm gonna say 2007.
Who said 2009?
I did.
Justin, what about you? What do you think?
I'm kind of thrown off by the Fall Fest 06, so I'm just gonna go with that.
That's just the first year it started, right?
Yes.
Right. Yeah, the 06 is a year of
Oh no, wait a minute.
when it started.
I'm surprised it's not raining.
I'm changing my answer. I got my new drums in 2012, so I'm gonna say 2011.
I said
Nope.
2010.
There's no keyboard player.
Jim, we
No
used to call
keyboard player.
we used to call it Huntley Rainfest because I think the first 5 years that we played it either rained out or it poured, maybe even more than that. I think every year that it rained until like the last couple of years.
So crazy. Steve, what about you? What do you think?
2009.
2009. Both of you guys are right. 2009.
Yes.
Yeah, it was a great fest. I don't remember where I was, but I walked up and you guys were playing, so it was kind of fun. What is
I just
your
love, I
biggest?
love how the fest has evolved over the years from a little in the parking lot where the beer garden is now. That was where the stage was, and it was just back there to moving the stage into the grass, a big stage, big lights, sound, and then now he's got the carnival and fireworks, and I just love how far it's come. And
Yeah, you guys have seen it since 2006, so
Yeah.
you've seen every part of it.
Yep.
I mean,
Crazy how much it's grown.
what do you think of it now, Mike? I know you said, but what do you think of it now with all the carnival and the car show and one of the last free fests in the area?
well, yeah,
Not too many free fests left.
it's one of the premier fests in the area now, and it's also later in the year, which is a good and a bad thing. That's why we call it the Rain Fest, because you're pushing so close to October, the weather starts changing. But
Like last year.
let everyone else do all their July and summer fests, and it's like the premier, fall fest in the area. So I love what Brian and everyone at Huntley has done with it, and appreciate that they keep asking us back every year.
I mean, you guys are pretty close to that location, so do you guys can consider it like a hometown fest for you?
Steve,
Well,
you're
yeah,
up.
Jim and I are 5 minutes from there, and Steve grew up there, in his younger days when he had a real popular band back then. Prior,
Yeah, I graduated from Huntley. I was seventh grade on. Went to school there, so it's definitely one of my favorite shows because of that reason.
What did you used to play in a band called Crier? What venues did you used to play in Huntley? Did you play
It would have been PR Parrots, Parkside, Sammy's, Bull High we played, Wander Inn. That's how far back that thing goes.
Wow.
But
That's
yeah, I
pretty
mean, it was a blast. We just stayed pretty much Huntley, Hampshire, and Crystal Lake is where that band played. So that was
great.
back in 1990.
Jeez.
Wow.
You're old, Steve.
I wasn't even going to speak to that.
Steve, you're old.
Brutal.
So Jim, I'm gonna throw this one at you, and anybody else can chime in as well on any of these questions. But what do you attribute the longevity of modern day Romeos to?
probably my vocals? And
Or my guitar tone.
it's since day one, we kind of made it like our mission statement is that we never take ourselves seriously. We always put the crowd. Steve has been posting that in our emails. Without you, we're nothing. That's what every band says. But I mean, they're paying our bills. They're paying our bills. They're shaving their legs. They're getting a babysitter. They're waiting in line to pee. They're waiting in line. They're spending $5 for a beer. Here's my cat. Then after 18 years, we take over the world. But I think that, and then just staying connected to the fans, making sure that we're interactive and entertaining, and then on top of it, just not reinventing ourselves, but always taking what we have and make sure it doesn't get stagnant. Kind of keep what our staple things are, and then kind of progress with I don't know if the times or the people, or we just get sick of songs, so we want to do some other songs. So that's probably, for me, those are probably the two main things.
And adapting. I think
Yeah, you guys are fan driven, so when you talk about that and you play, you are fan driven, so you're kind of driven by what the fans requested you as well, right?
yeah. When we first started, it was more like a harder rock kind of a set. More like Inky
We were doing Tool and Rage. We were doing a lot heavier stuff when we first started.
which
Yeah.
I think that would fly.
Justin, I can barely hear you. I don't know if that's me or you.
I think because he's zooming from a closet or something right now. It looks like he's
Was it?
the Frosted Flakes witness protection guy right now. It looks like he was the one touched by an uncle.
Hold on one second. Can you hear Justin, Becky? Yeah, Becky's got headphones on and she can barely hear you.
What's
don't
up,
know if you got to move closer or what.
Brian's on. What's up,
There's
Jim? Hi,
Mike
Dennis.
on. Mike on.
Hey, Mike Zaitz is on. What's up, Mike?
Nice.
I think another thing that makes us different than other bands is it's not run by one person. I mean, it's literally, we go from youngest to oldest, we pick songs and we rehearse that song and we play it no matter what the song is. So
Now,
it's
there
truly a
has been
band
one
experience.
exception.
Well, the one, but like everyone has their, percentage of what the band is. And I come from a classic rock background, and he's really eclectic, and Justin's more the acoustic guy, so that's the cool part about us is you're really getting a melting pot of 6 different people. And I think that contributed to our longevity as well.
Does it make it harder to pick songs that you want to play as a group, because there's so many of you guys in the band? I mean, if you all get together, who picks the songs that gets put on the set list?
We have a giant whiteboard that's in our rehearsal studio, and we just have how Steve was saying, like from youngest to oldest. So basically we take turns. So it's a complete democracy. And how Steve was saying with the different backgrounds, it's kind of nice because Justin will pick a song. I'm like, what are you talking about? Or Steve will pick like some random, or, it's a song I would never pick, or Chris picks a song that Brecky would never pick. And because of that reason, I think that's why our set list has always stayed more eclectic. And that's why it works really well, where we can do a high school pep rally, then we can go to Harley Davidson Fest in Milwaukee and play for bikers, and then do a festival for kids from 6 to 70, like keeping that diversity. And if we're doing an all country set or a rock set, or we can kind of be eclectic. And if not, then we just have all of those different songs that we can play at a festival. So maybe in the beginning, the kids are like, hey man, this band sucks. Oh, that's a new song. I like that's a new Luke Holmes song. I like that one. Or vice versa. I don't know any of these songs. Then we'll do Steppenwolf or something, Neil Diamond, And I think having this democracy kind of like broadens. It's not one person being like, this is the music I want. A lot of bands are run by one person. So we, my cat was crawling on the table. Now my 3-year-old's on top of the dining room table. Or my 1-year-old, I'm sorry. So I think that has a lot to do with the longevity and with the wide fan base because of the different kinds of music that we all listen to.
And to add to that, nobody, you can't not, Steve, if someone picks a song, you have to learn it. There's no, I don't want to learn it. I don't like that song. It doesn't matter. If Brecky picks a song, it's his turn. We all have to work on it. We all have to learn it. And we all have to bring it back to practice. We all have to play it. And then we actually also try to make it at least one show with it and get the reaction, see what kind of reaction we get. There's been a few that the first time we've ever played it live was our last time ever playing it live. But
We've had our duds.
But that's a cool thing. In 18 years, everyone gets a veto. So yeah, Brecky could pick a song, and I'm like, nope, I'm not doing it. I'm not playing it. I use my veto one time, kind of like a mulligan in golf.
Like one time a year, or
the one time ever.
One time you beat him.
And no one's ever had a veto.
Until everybody goes around.
No one's ever used their veto except for me one time.
On my song, you jerk.
Wait, I gotta know what song.
It's called The Stake from Steve Miller Band. And I was thinking we could put like the talk clock solo to Rocky Mountain Way in it, because it kind of has that dun, 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 dun. So I was like, perfect. And he thought it was like steak the food,
Steak.
I don't even know if you listened to it. Did you? You just saw the name and freaked.
All time.
I'm your average everyday Steve Miller Band. I've heard Joker and all the other ones. Like I can't think. We played like 4 of them on Swing Town and whatever. But Steak, really?
Yeah, the part, because we're modern day Romeos. Nobody ever loved you like the way I do. Come on.
It's a great one.
Does your backgrounds come into play when you pick songs like that, Justin?
Can you hear me better now?
Yeah, I can hear you better now for sure. So does your backgrounds in learning music or playing music, who you looked up to or what you did before Modern Day Romeos, have a big play or a little play in how you pick songs?
Well, not for like me or Steve, because we came from, like, I was a 80s metal, hair metal guy. We're not that band. So we've done a couple songs, but I've not, I would love to play more Motley Crue and Bon Jovi or something, but we're just not that band. So it's
Yeah,
to say that
if I went down that road, then I'd be picking Pantera, Seven Dust, and
Exactly.
Disturbed. So
We're all cognizant of what we are and what the band
Right.
is and what the public wants, or you got to have a product for people to come and see. And I think we're all understanding of what is right in the modern day wheelhouse. And we've been picking songs pretty well since that collective, okay, I know what works and what doesn't anymore.
Yeah, and I'll say that, I've never been to one of your shows where I sat back and went, oh no, not this song, or
We do.
these
We
5
do.
songs or something like that. It's never been that. It's always been, first of all, one of the greatest frontmen in the music world you guys have. So if he
thanks, I
can't get
appreciate it.
Thank you so much.
absolutely,
I am in the
guys.
front row, so I'll take that as a
No, it kind of more, I mean, it morphed in. We're like, how are we going to be different? There are so many bands at that time. It was a lot more competitive. And a lot of the bands were kind of doing their own thing. And there was a band called Fabulous Janes that were they kind of did a pretty big mixture, and they were just a party band. They were really fun. So that's Steve and I started it. And we're like, we want to do something kind of like what the Fabulous Janes are, but really just kind of do our own thing. Cause I was singing karaoke. I was doing Michael Jackson and metal, and I was doing whatever I felt like let's just do a band. This is like iPod Shuffle, because this is like 2002. And that's really when it started, people don't just listen to one kind of music. That's not a thing anymore. Everybody likes all kinds of music. They have a kind that they gravitate towards, but they listen to everything. So we started that. And then once we started playing out a little bit, we started being more entertaining. And then we started doing all these skits and videos and intros and got more elaborate. And then we realized we're the only band still to this day of hundreds of bands that do anything like that. So then we just thought, okay, that's going to be our niche. This is how we're going to attack the shows. It's not going to be, you're blown away by our musicianship. You're going to be, there's not a more entertaining or interactive band in the scene than what we do. So that's kind of where we capitalized on it. So then going forward, picking songs, we kind of okay, how do we'll do one-offs like a Life's Been Good, songs we just like because screw it. We made it this far. We can do some of the songs we just want to do.
You didn't choose Weird Al?
We're trying cognizant of, okay, how does this fit into our brand? And how do we keep that energy up the whole time?
That's great. So I'm going to go around. I'll start with Justin. What's your background? What did you do musically to get to this position in modern day Romeos?
I kind of just,
Who did you look up to, kind of thing?
I didn't really know what I was doing at first. Jimmy taught me how to hold the guitar, and I had been playing for maybe a year and a half, and he's like, hey, I booked us a show. And I'm like, what are you talking about? I know songs all over. I didn't even know how to
That's funny. That's what he does now.
Yeah. Back then there was no internet or YouTube to learn songs. You just kind of learn by ear. So he's like, yeah, we got 3 weeks and we're gonna play this acoustic show. And I'm like, dude, we have to learn songs. I don't even know how to play really. So it just kind of got thrust into it, and before I know it, the ball was rolling. So I didn't really have influences, so it was just more of a
Yeah, this is both of our first bands. We were never in any bands before this. We played a little bit with just Justin and I, Jim and Justin. Other than that, this was the only band we've ever been in.
Do you guys have videos of when you were younger, rocking out to a plastic microphone kind of thing at Family Fest? Yeah.
Chris and I do.
We used to do radio shows all the time. We used to have tapes and we would make radio shows, but we were never really, our parents always had music cranked all the time. So we listened to music all the time, but we weren't really we do have some shows. We put on some variety shows and stuff like that I think we still have. It might be fun to pull those out of the archives. But, yeah,
You should put those in video. Freckles, how about you? And it's so weird to call you that, by the way.
You know what? It's I'm used to it now. That's sort of my thing. No, I've been performing like all my life. Thinking of like when I was really, really little, we used to put on shows. We'd dress up in funny clothes at my grandma's house and put on shows for like the rest of the family. And even into, hey, even into like junior high and high school, I was involved in like theater and music. I actually met my wife doing music in high school, and into college, I studied music production. What I do now for a living is own a recording studio. So I'm surrounded by music every single day, and there's just nothing better than performing in front of people and just like playing music. So like I play keys, and like to me it's relaxing to sit down and just and play music. So to be able to do that in front of a crowd it's like very special, and you know, I feel very lucky every day for being able to do that, especially with a good group of guys.
What's the
Oh,
name?
Yeah,
don't cry.
and being the youngest member of the band, how did you get into this band? You know, did they come looking for you? Did you come looking for them? Did you know them before you got into the band?
I've seen them many times throughout their existence before I was in the band. So I knew who they were, and I had a cousin of mine who like followed and still follows you guys pretty religiously. That saw the post that you guys posted that you were looking for a keyboard player, and she shared it with me like right away and was like, "You should try out." And I was like, sure, why not? You know, I'm self-employed, so like my schedule is pretty flexible, and you know, I played in at least a couple bands leading up to this, so I like sort of like knew the, you know, the role of like being in a band. We use in-ear monitors in MDR, and the last band I was in before this, we had in-ear monitors, so I was used to that. So it just kind of seemed like a really good fit. And I just started posting videos through their tryout process, and for some reason they picked me.
Weren't you the photographer in a fest the year before?
Oh yeah.
Fest played?
If you watch the there's a promotional video for the village of Cary, and it was me basically going around town filming just like everything from like, you know, restaurants to football games to festivals, and I was filming the Cary Main Street Fest, and you guys were playing, and I was like up on stage with you guys like filming and filming the audience and stuff like that, and so that ended up making it in the video. But and that was like the year before, or like sometime really close to when I ended up joining you guys. So
That's funny.
At that point, though, at that point, though, did you go, oh, if these guys ever need a keyboard player, I'm in? I mean, you're up
yeah,
on
I
stage.
mean, you know, it's always nice to think like, you know,
You should have told us that
like,
day. We could have made it sooner.
right? I'm sure I was at that point busy having babies and stuff and life.
Mike, how about you? What's your history? And I know some of your story, you know, backstory and stuff, but I don't think many people know who you are as a drummer.
You mean they didn't buy our DVD from our 10-year anniversary? It talks about all this in it. I mean,
It may, I don't know if they did or not.
Come to Huntley Fall Fest, we'll give them away for free.
Oh, what? No, I never had any music lessons. I never took band or anything in school growing up. I lived next to
It was because of me.
that guy, and he played guitar, and he was bored playing guitar by himself, so he wanted me to play the drums. I was always into the drums when I was a little kid. Like I had like the toy drum set, you know, the paper, it's like paper skins, and had the little metal cymbal and get from Toys R Us. And I was infatuated with the with the guys from Showbiz Pizza, you know, the animatronics, Rocket Fire Explosion. That was my first real influence. I tell people that all the time. Anytime they ask me, Duke LaRue is my first drumming influence. But no, I was gifted with athletic ability, so a lot of drumming has to do with coordination. So I could like have my right hand do one thing, my left hand do something else, my foot do one thing, whatever. So I realized I was air drumming kind of to some of the songs I was listening to, and it seemed like I was kind of close. So Chris is like, tell your parents to buy a drum set. All right. I bought a drum set, and I just sucked. And I just sucked and sucked and sucked, and I just kept sucking. And eventually, there you go.
I'll hold the joke.
And you still suck.
I know.
Jim, you were on mute. I didn't hear what you said, man.
He just said I kept sucking and sucking and sucking, and I said I'm gonna withhold that joke.
Yeah, I know. That's why I stopped. But no, you just have to practice. Practice makes better. And I just kept at it. And the next thing you know, you listen to one thing and you work at it, and here I am.
And 18 years later, you're still playing with these amazing guys that you guys are family. I mean,
well, I started in 90s. My first band was in 96. And I was in 2 original bands until 98. And then I was in Wicked Garden from 98 to 02. So I've been playing out every weekend since about 98 for sure, on average every weekend. So I don't know if you're going to get to this later, but this little, I don't say the pandemic, but this little break that we've had for me is actually pretty good. I kind of needed it.
is it because of your, playing drums? And I mean, it's got to be hard to get up and play 4 shows a week, 5 shows a week sometimes.
Well, what's also hard is 90% of, there's only 6 of us, but we all basically have full-time day jobs,
Right.
And some of us, it's different situations, but my situation is I'm up at 4 o'clock in the morning every day for work, and I'm on a construction site. So and the drums happen to be a physical, I do have a physical job for a career. I go to the gym. I try to go to the gym as much as I can. So I have a physical hobby, and now I have a physical second job. So that's basically why I was kind of burnt. So this was a nice little break, and it's nice to miss something. We don't have it for a while. So when our first show was 3 weeks ago, in 4 months, and it was nice to be back on stage. That's what I missed the most, is performing. It wasn't so much playing the drums. It was just performing for people and getting the reactions that we get.
Sure. Before we get to Steve, a question came in. What is the best stage you guys have ever played? And Sean Craddy asked that question. So
Sean Craddy, he's part of the fest. He was at SoHop with us this morning too. Tommy Lynch is on. Pino Farina is on. Pino was he showed up after all the work was done. But then they started brewing a second beer, so he got to can some of that stuff. Tommy Lynch is on. There's a couple of friends that we've known for a long time. Dangerous Donnie, our sound engineer, is watching too. So I'm just saying hi to a couple people. And Joy.
Sure.
Hi, couple people.
So what's the best stage you ever played at?
Huntley Fall Fest by far.
Yeah, I mean,
And
Easy.
Next question. That's easy.
2006.
when it's not raining.
Right, when it's not raining. Steve, what about you? What's your background in music? What's your history?
Geez, I had a friend that taught me some chords. I mean, I used to do the cutout cardboard guitars and air guitar to Foreigner and Van Halen and all the rest of it. So, I mean, that I've always, since I've been young, I wanted to play. And then I got my first electric guitar, and with the support of my father, got an amplifier and some pedals for Christmas, and it was cool. But I had a friend that showed me some bar chords, and from there it was, got a subscription to some guitar magazines and read tablature and tried to learn songs. I think if there's anything that made me get a lot better was actually getting in a band and performing, because there's nothing like being in front of people and having to do your job, So once I got into the band prior, that was like, we were just a dance band, wedding band, basically, playing everything from Brown Eyed Girl to Hang On Sloopy to Taking Care of Business, So learning all of that music really lent itself kind of like it was a good education for me on what to do and what not to do, because there's different styles within that helped me. But that was the start of it. And just playing in bands, you know. I remember when I joined Rubber, I didn't know half of the bands that those guys were wanting to play, but I'm like, well, I can play guitar, I can learn it, and it works pretty well. And I got to meet Mike and Chris and Jim, so here we are.
Awesome. So self-taught?
Yeah.
That's amazing. Any other guys self-taught? Wow, that's crazy.
Yeah,
It's amazing that you've
I
put
think we're all
together,
self-taught.
yeah, that you put together this team, this great band, and all you guys are self-taught. That is awesome.
I mean, my father bought me lessons at, I remember this to this day, at the players bench in Crystal Lake. And I walked in and I'm like, all right, show me how to play something. He goes, well, yeah, I want to teach you this. And I'm like, that's not what I want to learn. And he goes, well, this is how we're going to do this. And I remember closing my guitar and walking out before my dad even left. And he's like, I just paid $36 for all these lessons for the month. I was like, it ain't going to happen, Dad. It isn't what I want to learn, you know? So I wish I had YouTube and everything now. That would have been great back then.
Man,
A lot more information, but you know, those guitar magazines and that tablature did it all for me.
Awesome. Tell Uncle Larry I said hello.
I will, definitely.
You guys know all that story? I'm sure you guys know that whole story, but Steve, I gotta tell this story.
Sure.
Or do you want to tell this story? No, you tell this story. Because you called me on the phone and you're like, is your
Yeah,
mom
well,
and Ben and Carly?
I mentioned your name because being with my father, and he's just like, Obos, Jim Obos. I said, yeah. And he said, that's your cousin. I was like, what? So I think
You guys,
our grandma, my grandma, and your mom or your grandma,
great grandma,
great grandma were
yeah,
daughters of great grandma.
Bush on the hill.
Yeah,
how old were you when you found out you're related?
it wasn't until the band.
Dude, it was
5 years
crazy
ago.
because I shot you guys for quite a few years off and on. And you guys, Steve, you were looking at photos is how it came up, right? Or something. You saw the name down at the bottom, the tagline down at the bottom.
Yeah, I mean, well, it was all my father. He's like, Obos.
Yeah.
There's only one Obos that I know. And that's when I was like, hey, I think we might be cousins, dude. I don't remember. I mean, it was young when we would go to Busha. So I don't remember. I remember it's in Chicago and like California, I think, California and Superior or something like that in that area. Yeah. And other than that, I don't really remember that whole time, but you were a little bit older than me, I think.
Yeah, but I was still young. I mean, the hill, Bush on the, and sorry, we're getting away from you guys a little bit, but Bush on the Hill, man, that hill was like this back then.
About Busha.
Yeah.
And now it's like,
So Busha means grandma in Polish.
right, Bush is grandma in Polish. All right, so back to you guys. What do you miss most about everything that's going on and being on stage is the easy answer? You know, what's the hard answer? Is it getting off stage at the end of the night and going, oh, that was a great show, and now we got to go meet the fans? Or is it actually playing the show?
Is your question which is the hardest part?
What do you miss the most?
Oh, what do we miss the most?
Oh,
Festivals. Man, I miss festivals. Festivals are so fun. There's such an amazing energy at festivals. That's what we should be doing for the past like 2 months. We normally do 2-3 a week. We haven't had any. And festivals are amazing because we get to bring kids up on stage. It's just, you have thousands of people. It's such a, like, once the night gets going and they have a couple drinks in them, it's like this unified party. You know, there's no like band or fans. It's just this like, I'm just hosting this massive party and everyone's involved and the energy is loud and we can bring our family to it. So, you know, beforehand, we'll bring our family, we'll ride rides, we'll pump them full of cotton candy. They go crazy. Then later on, they'll come and set up picnic blankets backstage and like, you know, the family hangs out. And it's just the festivals I miss so much. The energy of festivals, the meeting people, gaining a lot of new fans. And actually, you know, it's just that the festival season is, outside of the heat on a couple shows, it's the best. And it's crazy that, you know, now it's already been 2 months into it. 4th of July is the first 4th of July I don't even remember. Like my wife was walking around like bummed out. I'm like, what's going on? She's like, what do we do? Like, we've gone festivals. Our kids grew up to watching the fireworks in between sets at, 4th of July festivals. It's just been so crazy this year.
Yeah, I said the same thing to Becky. I'm sitting at 4th of July and I looked at her, I said, this is the first 4th of July in close to 20 years that we haven't been out with either our cameras shooting the fest, shooting fireworks, or a band. And I felt the same way, man. It's been crazy. But when you guys are with a fest or at a fest and you're bringing that fest into your show, and I say bring it into your show because I've seen shows where you guys are playing and people are just sitting back in their chairs like this. And I think something clicks in your head, Jim, and you're just like, I'm off stage. I'm going to do this in the crowd. And you go out into the crowd. What is your, what's the thought process, the driver for that?
I used to host karaoke before I was ever in a band. I used to stalk Steve's band, Rubber, and they would let me sing a song or two. So I'd follow them around like a puppy anywhere they played because I got to sing 1 or 2 songs. And I was hosting karaoke at the time, and there'd be like 10 people. So I was just like, this sucks. If I can get them going, I bet I can turn the night around. And then it worked every single night. And eventually, like, the crowd started growing and growing. And that's just, to me, it's just like almost a challenge. Like most of the time it's like, whatever, let's just kind of get through it. I'm like, no, F that. Let's put on a show. Let's give them a hell of a show. Go time, and you hit that switch. And I'd say probably 90% of the times I can get the crowd, it might take half a night, but I'll get them up. I'll get them into it. And by the end of the night, they're going, they're full bore. But it's a challenge to me. Like, half of these people want to, or they don't, you know what I mean? It's kind of like the 5th grade dance where everyone's just kind of hanging out on the side, and that one weird kid starts dancing, and then everybody slowly starts, and all of a sudden by the end of the night, they're going crazy. That's basically what it is. I'm just that weird kid that's like, no, come on, biker. I know you like boy bands. Let's get out here. Let's go. By the end of the night, the biker's like, everybody.
That's awesome. So for the other guys, the first time Jim jumped off the stage to go into the crowd, what were you thinking? Is that
I was the one that saw Jim doing karaoke, and I had just left Rubber because I got my firstborn. So I'm looking at him going out, and he did the same thing at karaoke. He got everybody involved, and I'm like, man, that's my guy. He just charismatic, and I could sit back and play guitar. I don't have to do the jumping thing and 360 windmills and the rest of it. So.
And they let me do it, which was fun. They kind of let me kind of create my own, frontman thing. And they'd go off and they would Chris would be like, we're putting you on wireless, packs, because I did rock climbing walls. I've jumped on tilt-a-whirls, mini horses, Zambonis, like pretty much anything within
Falling on garbage cans.
Garbage cans. Nice. So with that, that idea, going out into the crowd, bringing the crowd into the show, that's part of your show, right? I mean, without the fans, you guys are kind of building just music.
That's our MO for our particular band. There's some fantastic bands out there. We all know who they are. They've been doing it for years. We're all friends with them. They're friends with us. Their shows are different. Theirs might be more about looking the part, sounding the part. There might be about a light show, screens behind them with images and videos and whatever. And there's a lot that goes into that. We know what it goes into it. We respect them, but our show is just more about a big giant party and us being as much as we can involved with you and the crowd. I mean, obviously some of us are tied to instruments, but there's been times at shows where everyone but myself went out into the crowd and we're playing, and I'm up on stage by myself playing. Then finally I said, F it. I got off the drums. They just kept going acoustically. I just brought my drumsticks and I was like banging on the ground.
Nice.
And I mean, for God's sake, we're a cover band. So, let's have fun with it. We're not who we're covering.
We never ever take ourselves seriously. And anytime, any festival, anywhere, if you don't walk up as soon as you're done and you talk to fans, you don't deserve to be in the band. Like, it's just not like, we're a cover band. We're fortunate enough to be doing it. We have the longevity and we've had the following to sustain what we've been doing for a long time. And like, if you don't appreciate that, then, you know, there's hundreds of bands trying to take it to that next level. And the fact that we've been able to, I don't know how, just been able to ride it for so long. And if you don't appreciate that and thank the people for supporting you through that many times and all the new people, then you don't deserve to be in the band. You don't deserve that. So that's just kind of been our mantra since day one. So we'll do whatever. We'll play. We'll show up. We've shown up at birthday parties before shows, just to like surprise people. Have messaged us, hey, he's a huge fan of yours. Can you come to their birthday party before your festival? And we'll just show up and awkwardly sit at a picnic table for like 20 minutes.
Today, after I got off work,
yeah.
I just mailed a poster to a guy in Texas. He requested it. He emailed us, and I got all the guys before the show 2 weeks ago to sign it. And I finally had time today, and I mailed him a signed autographed poster to Texas. No charge.
That's awesome.
No. I mean, some guy in Texas wants our autograph to put on down in his man cave because he used to live here in Chicago and he used to see us. Someone wants my autograph. I mean, we're blessed. We're fortunate. We're blessed. That's why there's no rock star here. There's no puff up our chest. We're better than anybody. You know, you rope off and you guys stay over there. And you guys can't come back here by us. I mean, there's times at festivals where it gets a little chaotic, and we just need some space so we can get ready for the show or move gear. So we might have, if you ever come to a festival and you see stuff roped off with caution tape, it's not because, oh, we're the band. It's just we need to be able to do some work. That's all. But we're about as accessible as you can ever want a band to be.
Yeah, it's pretty amazing when you guys are at fests and get out to the crowd. I love that. I love that feel of doing that. Jim and Justin, you guys do acoustic stuff on your own as well, and you kind of play off of that stuff that you do on stage with the band in just you two as a duo. How did that, you're brothers, so how did that come about when you're like, all right, let's just do this? Or did you always do that because you're brothers?
Yeah, I think more than anything, it's to amuse ourselves, because you can only learn so many songs, and acoustic, it's not quite the energy of a full band show, so it's more trying to be witty and outwit the next person and try to get people to laugh. So it's a little bit more try to amuse ourselves more than anything, I think.
And that kind of carries over because there's some shows, I mean, people are smart. They can read fake. There's some bands that are like, and they back up to each other. All right, air guitar. Yeah, having fun up here tonight. And you're like, ugh, get off. So like, yeah, that's fake. And so for us, I mean, there's some shows that still we play that suck, and then they're brutal, you know, and we just start entertaining ourselves, and then, you know, some people gravitate towards that, and then all of our shticks, we've never really choreographed anything. It just that's kind of what we did to amuse ourselves, and I think that connects to people, you know. And then a lot of the stuff might be something funny that happens just at that show, and then it's an inside joke. We've always had, or not we, I've always had the criticism of talking too much in between songs, because really I was really one of the first singers in the scene that, like, in between songs, I'm like, I'm talking to people and saying jokes or doing whatever, and no one really ever did that before. So we got a lot of shit when we first started, especially at festivals, like, shut up and play music.
Yeah,
like, right, okay, back to song, you know. But that was our brand was different. Our brand was talking to people, so we had to adjust a little bit when we got to festival level, where there's, you know, people 100 feet back, they can't see what's going on. So we were used to, like, people in smaller venues where we could, you know, pull out private jokes, and then all of a sudden we became part of that. Was that just that night, and you never, if you weren't there, you missed out what happened. That's when we were doing all the intros. We never posted them online, which we're freaking idiots now, because that's all of the online content. I look back, we've done like 80 intros and videos and skits that literally no band does at all. We're the only ones. And I'm like, why haven't we been posting these online? Day one, that's like, everybody's digging for content, and we're just like, here's our one time, and then we don't even take video of it. I'm like, what are we doing? But it was about the night. It was about getting them there early. And it was about, did you see that one show? If you didn't, you missed out. You got to go to the next one. And that's kind of how we've always been. So when we're joking on stage, or if it's a private joke or something that's going on, it's more or less that's kind of our brand. we're kind of different than other ones, and some people hate it, you know, and there's plenty of bands that don't do that, you know what I mean? But that's, after a while we were trying to change it. After a while we're like, screw it, like we have fun doing it, and I think I'd rather be real and have fun what we're doing and lose a couple people to, you know, just wanting nonstop music. You know, if that's what they need, then.
But I think that's what makes you guys unique and fun to come and see all the time, because one, your shows are different all the time. You don't do the same conversation that you have, and you're fan driven. So you always get out into the crowd and just get that crowd riled up and behind you guys. So it is great.
That might be part of the reason for the longevity of the band too, is it's not the same thing. You know, it's nice that there's a variety of songs and genres, and every show feels a little bit different because it's not structured. We're not, you know, usually there's a set list that we follow, but rarely is it ever like,
No, there's a set list.
every song.
We don't follow
like,
Right.
it's always different.
Jim, I think out of the 18 years we played, we followed the set list like 6 times. We put a ton of time in it. Steve used to make them, and I used to switch them up, because I still have a lyric book. I still have a book of lyrics, that songs we've been doing for 15 years, because I'm never thinking the song. I'm thinking the room. I'm reading the room. What are they gauging? Oh, they're not dancing yet. Switch up the set list. They're not ready for dance stuff. Oh, they're liking the rock. Let's move some stuff here. Oh, look at all those people wearing cowboy hat. We have like country songs, like 15 songs in, bump it. Like, I'm Peyton Manning the whole time, just like calling audibles and Omaha, Omaha, Omaha. So it annoys them to death, because we'll never follow a set list. And now the running joke is like, why even thanks for the list of songs, Jim. Just tell us what we're playing next.
For instance, the last set, he wrote the set list on 2 lunch brown paper bags. And that's what we were following. So I looked at it, I was like, all right, well, obviously we're not following this set list.
Well, then we'll get ready to start the show, and I'll have the set list, you know, on my hi-hat or whatever. Everyone's got the set list around the stage. And I look at Jimmy, I get the set list, I go, all right, what are we starting with? You know, it's written out. The order is written out and how we're supposed to play it, but what are we really starting with?
Nice. That's awesome. So
It's
Freckles,
just-
was it tough for you to get into the band and have that mindset right away? Or did it take you a couple shows to go, all right, we're doing it this way?
It took me a while, because like, I'm used to like preparing for like a show and like knowing exactly like how to prepare for it. This one, I was like, I don't know what I have to like learn for tonight, because we could play anything.
Trial by
It's
fire.
actually, and I mean, it took me a while to get used to it, but now I
credit
appreciate it.
myself on this one, because this band
Of course you do.
is so good at on the fly eye contact. Like, keep going. Okay, we're doing, because I screw up the song so much, and either do a repeat a verse or just skip a chorus altogether or whatever else. And I'll be in the crowd and I'm doing something, like, I just did the second verse. And I look back and you just see all the eyes, like, not even skip a beat and just like fluidly go through. So I think I've improved all of your musicianship. You're welcome.
That's awesome. That
True
is
story.
awesome.
But, and a lot of them too, which another reason we've never used tracks is because I'm always reading the room from song 1 to song N. Is there mosh pits? Are they dancing? Are they not dancing? Do they need to dance? Are they too spread out? So there might be some where I'm like, there's a grandma, she's dancing right now. Keep the song going. Let's spread them out. Let's make this, you know, we try and adjust the show and work that into the show, because there's been like a grandma just going to town and we're like, keep going. This is the show right now, you know, and people lose their minds for that kind of stuff. Or a little kid comes up and he's just like some kind of weird ninja break dancer. We're like, keep it going a little bit longer. Like, this is great stuff. Or this sucks, abort. And these guys are so amazing at, like, you know, we never follow the scripts or do whatever, because it's so reliant on what the crowd is and how the crowd needs, you know, what we need to do to put that defibrillator on the crowd to get them going. And these guys just follow it now. I know it's annoying to them and it bothers the hell out of them, but
A little bit.
just like following the lead of like, oh, that's really fun. They're like, yep, eye contact, switch, keep going here, or extend it out, another solo, or do something to, you know, to keep it going. So
That's awesome.
it's pretty fun to see how, I really appreciate how they've let me do my thing, and how they've just like, you'll never notice. If you're seeing us for the first time, you were thinking that's part of the shtick. We've had a couple of those, like, you hired that guy, or have you done this before? I'm like, no, this is just like he was awesome. I wanted, as a fat guy in a bikini, I want him on stage. You know what I mean? That's hilarious. No one has that,
And you guys started a unique thing a few years ago with bringing kids up on the stage too, right? What really drove that? Is it your own kids, or was it that moment that you were like, all right, kids are the future, or what was it?
Well, what parent doesn't like to see their child having fun? Or, you can tell sometimes when some of the kids come up to us and meet us. I said this before, we might be the closest thing to a real rock star that they might ever get to, like shake hands, hug, sign autographs, whatever. And you can see the look in their eyes. We know who we are. I'm an electrician. He's a computer guy. He's what sells musical gear. But to that kid, it's like, oh my God, this person was just on stage. Probably doesn't know half the songs we're playing because they're classic rock songs. Might think that they're ours, and their eyes just light up. And then us taking the time to sign whatever and talk, take a picture, give a hug. And then the parent sees the joy that the kid has. We're parents too, so that's why, like what I try to do now. Sometimes I will, as we're signing stuff in the crowd, I buy like 200 drumsticks at the beginning of the fest season, and I sign them, because then it gives that kid, and I'll give them to kids, no adults, I'll give them to kids, gives that kid a chance to hand it to the rest of the guys, something to sign, instead of saying, hey, can you sign my shoe, or can you sign my piece of paper on the ground? So now they have a drumstick, and they take it to all the guys, they get it signed. And then I'll grab a couple kids with their parents and come up on stage and maybe sit behind my drums, take a picture, see what it looks like from my vantage point. I've seen Steve put a guitar on the kids before, because you just know that as a parent, what that's doing.
Now, I mean, we've been doing it long enough, 18 years. If you think about that, some 5-year-old that came to see us now is in a band. He's playing guitar, and he's like, yeah, man, I was playing because I watched you guys. Like, we used to see you every summer, and I got to sit behind a drum kit or play guitar or come up on stage. And I mean, it's so cool for kids. I mean, it's cool for anyone to stand up on stage. You have thousands of people that are just like, and I'll just have them say weird words like plate tectonics and Bob Saget or what. It's just such a cool connected energy, and to share that with anybody is awesome. But for kids, I mean, they're just like, this is a thing. This is amazing, And on top of it, people lose their mind because kids are adorable. So it's a win-win situation. And we can impact. I mean, there was a girl that came up that was she was all dressed in very goth looking, and I think it was at McHenry Fiesta Days. And she came up to me afterwards, and she was just asking me a bunch of questions. And I was like, "Oh, do you play music?" And she's like, "No, I write poetry. I don't really write anymore. It's not very good." I'm like, "That's the worst thing I've ever heard anybody say." And she was taken back. I'm like, "Write every day until next festival." And she literally came back and showed me her notebook. This a 14-year-old girl, wow. And she's writing amazing poetry now. That's crazy. You know what I mean? To have that impact. And we're just I said that for thinking, okay, I'll never see her again. And I just go it's 2 seconds to us, but we have to stop and think about how much we're actually, kids are so impacted by everything. And if you make that experience amazing, not only that, but it's a farm league for another 18 years for our band. So as they get to the age 21, we have another group coming out to the bars to see us.
and that's the joke, that's the fun behind what you're saying. But I actually had this conversation with Pino today at SoHop. Kids look at bands like you guys that are having so much fun on stage, that are being entertaining because they're looking around. Well, they're looking around like this because they're short, but their world is everything that they see in front of them, right? So, Mike, to your point, yeah, you think you're not a rock star, but to them, you are the rock star that they met face to face.
Well, I think kids can look at us, even all the bands in Chicago, we're attainable because we're local musicians. We're here locally. We're not Metallica or Bon Jovi or whatever. I mean, that's
they see us at Meyer and Target.
What's that?
They see us at Meyer and Target.
Right. Exactly. So they're like, well, if these guys live in the area and play these local fests and have a name that they, that's decently well known in the McHenry, Lake County area, Chicagoland area, maybe that's something that I can do. So yeah, I think looking up to us is, like I said, it's more attainable than trying to. We're gonna be the next Beatles.
Awesome.
And what we're doing is
You guys
don't have to travel. I mean, we've obviously had, we have some originals, and we're going to work on more now that we have a keyboard player with a studio. We're going to definitely take advantage of that guy. But we're not trying to take over the world. Like if what we're doing right now is sustainable, and we book up our entire year every year by like February, that's success to us. Like, we're happy with that. We're happy to play festivals and have the longevity, and we can go as pretty much as long as we want to. You know what I mean? So, as long as we keep nurturing what we're doing, like that's success to me. Like, I don't have to, obviously millions of dollars in touring would be amazing, but you're also away from your family. We can't do our day jobs. We can't do all the stuff that we're doing now. So
you better believe I have millions of dollars. I'm quitting my day job.
Yeah, no kidding.
So you guys are a unique band, and that's absolutely the most truest statement I think I could even say. But you have some quirky things.
Speaking of which, we got our original song "Unique" on iTunes.
You like how that filled in there? You guys have some quirks that you have on stage or do individually, each one of you, right? So what are some of the quirk? I'm going to have each one of you pick your own thing.
Oh, geez.
Yeah. Or I'll throw it at you and I'll tell you what I think too. I think the easiest one is going to be, I think the easiest one's going to be Mike. So everyone knows what Mike's quirk is on when he's playing, or
tell me. I'd like to know.
What do you
Calling up the roadies.
I don't yell at the roadies.
No. So why do you have a pair of sneakers on your drums?
The Converse. Well, because I'm walking around. Again, yes, we have people help with the shows. They're called roadies. But one roadie or one roadie helper can't do the entire show. So we are actually hands-on. I know some bands, and even locally, have a whole road crew. Awesome. We don't. So we have to actually do the work ourselves also, and set up our drums and set up our guitars and set up certain things. Well, if I'm walking around in a festival, I'm playing in gravel, or I'm playing on a wet, dewy grass, now my shoes are all wet or gravelly or muddy. And now I have to sit behind the drums and put them on my pedals, and then my feet slip all over the place. So I have a pair of drumming shoes. And those are Chuck Taylor Converse. I wouldn't consider that a quirk, though. A quirk would be like, I need ice in my glass for my Jack and Coke. That's a quirk.
I mean,
Don't
you
give
do
me
have a lot of Jack and
Coke
Cokes.
with no ice. I ain't dealing with that.
Yeah, I guess wording was wrong on that. But how long have you had those shoes, and how long are they the same shoes that you've had quite a while? Or
they are the second pair in 18 years, because I lost one of them.
Gross.
I had to go out and buy a new pair.
You didn't lose it. I just threw it in the garbage because you had them for 10 years.
That was you, Dick.
Gave them to a fan. The fan's like,
It just stands up. The laces are, that's gross. Like, how do you still wear these things? They're so
Have
nasty.
you seen your brother's shoes? Toe shoes?
Speaking of quirks, I'll go next.
oh,
Justin
or
has
unique things. Maybe quirk is the wrong word. Unique things, maybe.
Nick Cox is on from Seventh Heaven. Our Uncle Jeff, and Dennis Kramer says, Chris, what do you remember or not remember from Sundance Saloon when you had surgery and played anyways?
He was in a wheelchair.
Oh, geez. I was heavily medicated. That's what I remember.
You remember that?
Yeah, I had my appendix removed like 3 days before the show. And I was like, I can do this. So I literally just stood there. First show I ever just stood still pretty much the whole show.
Oh, you were sitting in a wheelchair.
Yeah, you said in a wheelchair
No,
or something.
No, that was fake. That was Matt just brought that as a joke.
Yeah, you're right.
Oh, that's right.
Oh, I sat in it. That was wonderful.
No, I just stood.
Yelled
Yeah,
at
that's
me to get
probably
off
it.
the lawn.
I don't know about quirks, but like Justin always has halls on the one of the in-ear racks. Steve has to have his
Cooler.
well, not just a cooler, but your like the cover of your guitar case.
Yeah,
You know, like,
that's
kind of like a
my
certain
stance
way.
on all my stuff.
And does that make you individualized, or does that make you look at, people look at you guys and they're like, you know what, these guys are just together, but look at all this cool stuff they see on stage? Because I see a lot of cool things on stage with you guys. Chris, I think one of my favorite photos of you is from when I was behind backstage shooting out into the crowd, and you just sat back and you're just totally into the music. And I see you do that a lot in a lot of the songs. Why do you, what makes you feel that part of the song?
Falling asleep.
Well,
Actually.
Well,
He's old. He's taking a
that
nap.
has happened. No, the truth is, now that the other guys have, so at that moment, I think that was Dundee Heritage Fest, right? I think that was the one. I was going some interesting times then. I was working hard. I was raising 2 kids. And when you go on stage, you kind of forget about all that. So at those moments, I just close my eyes and I suck up the fact that I'm playing music in front of a lot of people and they're all having fun, and I forgot about everything else. So that, like, at that picture, you captured like the moment of me just letting all that go and just enjoying the moment, which, when you have a crazy life outside of the music, you don't get to do much. But at that moment, and like that happens a lot, actually, I'll just take it all in and just close my eyes and get into it. So yeah, you've captured quite a few of those of me, actually. So
That's awesome. I love it too. Justin, and I know I was going to say what Mike said, your toe shoes are just,
Yeah, let's get into it.
Intervention.
That's what this whole thing is set up for, by the way.
I started out because
His toe shoes are an arch enemy of ours.
I sweat so much, and just the thought of like either wearing socks and shoes, it's just like, oh, I just feel even.
I feel like
sweatier.
toe shoes you would sweat more in.
It's so gross.
Kind of barefoot, and now
There's no room for air to move in them.
Such a heel.
Fight other people now, because I would say 98% of people just despise the shoes, and it just makes me like them that much more. So, now I buy new pairs. I'm like, oh, that would look nice.
first time I saw you wear those shoes, I was like, that is the weirdest thing I've ever seen. And then what made it even more weird is then I saw them everywhere. I was like looking at people's feet for some reason. So crazy.
Right here.
Do they still make them? Are they still?
Oh yeah.
My latest pair is like, a year and a half old or something like that. So.
I think your next pair of shoes have to be the paint that you paint on the bottom of your feet. You see some runners do that. And
Actually,
just do that.
Toe shoes I've ever seen actually look like bare feet, and they have like little laces on the top, and it looks like you're not even wearing shoes. It's awesome.
We call them
Like Mark Kennedy
toe
from
shoes.
7th Heaven.
I can't find them.
Right. Mark Kennett's shoes, right?
Yeah, Mark from 7th Heaven.
That's funny. Steve, what about you? What you do? What do you do on your guitar rack?
I've always been known to close my eyes when some certain times in certain guitar solos. I'll close my eyes just to connect more with it.
But
So I
it's
would
weird
say
is when
that.
he makes out with chicks, he keeps his eyes open. I've never.
Yeah.
It's so creepy.
And my zipper down.
I think the guys have told me that you do that because you're really trying to remember what you're playing.
That too.
Even back in
That's
rubber,
a
I would
trade
do it.
secret.
People would come up and be like, "Hey, why are you closing your eyes?" And I'm like, "I'm just in the moment." That's all it's about. It's similar to Chris. You're playing from the heart. You close your eyes, you become a vehicle from wherever that's coming from.
You become one with the instrument.
Correct.
Right. Rex, right in the middle, man. For my screen, you're right in the middle, and I'm coming to you last on this one. I'm going to ask the question straight up. Did you always play a keyboard that was in that position, or?
No. So I'm used to playing it the traditional way. And I think when you're standing, because it's usually when you're playing keyboard, you're sitting down. So you're like at the right position to play. Like it's all like perfect angles. But when you're standing, can't have the keyboard up here, like it's down here. And having it kind of at the angle is actually really comfortable to play because you're not like cocking your wrists to play this way. So it's actually your wrists are straight. So it's to me, it's more comfortable to play that way.
Yeah, ergonomic. And
Chops. Yeah. Exactly. And the added benefit is the audience, instead of seeing the back of the keyboard, they're seeing the keys and they're seeing your fingers. So it helps the, add a little bit of interest to that, so they can actually see you play.
Reki has like, he builds, they're called patches. It's like he builds sounds. And so a lot of the stuff which can be, played through tracks or whatever else, he's actually playing. So it's kind of cool to see how he like will sometimes section off different sections of the keyboard will have different sounds. So it's cool when you're standing up front, not only get to see what he's playing, but you can see how the sounds are coming together while he's playing it live. It's a pretty fun dynamic that he does.
It is fun to watch. I do appreciate the keys being like that, even from a photographer's point of view, because it actually shows your instrument, not the name brand of the keyboard that you're playing.
Exactly.
Oh, that's cool. So one of the probably most unique things that I've never seen in any other band, and quite frankly, the last time I saw you, I don't know if I wasn't paying attention or if
Most
I
people
turned to take photos of a
Including us.
fan in the crowd or whatever, but you guys jumped at the same time during a song. How did that come about? First time, what was the plan?
Well,
did it just happen?
Well, so way back, probably, 2003, we used to play Sweet Emotion by Aerosmith. And I always liked jumping during songs. So I think it was me that started it. And then Justin started jumping. And then Steve started jumping. And then Steve would jump with his legs, out. So then we all started jumping with our legs out. And Jimmy would just jump in the middle, and that's how most of our, little shticks work, is we'll just start doing something and then we'll all just join in, and like in 3-4 shows, we look back and we're all doing something the same. So yeah, that was like 2003, 2004. That all started.
That's awesome. You guys still do it? Are you old enough? You're old enough now.
I mean,
Steve.
Yeah.
Depends on how many shows we had and if I took aspirin before the show.
and how many beers are on the amp?
Yes.
I'm not 180 pounds anymore, so it's not get my old ass up in the air. That's a task and a half.
It is great for us as photographers out there to capture that moment, though, because it shows how you guys are like just together as a band, and you guys can be doing everything you're doing, and then that moment, people turn and look at the stage and see you guys doing the same action at the same time. It's kind of a cool thing, and whether you do it now or not doesn't matter. It just shows how great you guys are as a team, as a full band.
All of that stuff that we do, I guess you can call it a gimmick, but it evolved just from our performance. It wasn't something we set out to do.
Yeah,
It happened and we stuck with it.
That's awesome. So one of the other unique things you guys do is you put on holiday skits. And I guess I'd call them holiday skits, but is it based around a holiday, or is it just those skit openings that you do every once in a while? How did that come about, and what's your favorite one?
How it all started was Dirty Nellies moved to their new location, and we were still opening for bands, and we started to get the headlining spot at Nellies, and my 1-year-old standing on my kitchen table again. Just a second. So how it started was we were just starting to headline Dirty Nellies, and it just opened. So it was slammed every single night. So we're like, we can't screw this up. We have to do something fun. So I thought I would come out before the show. I would come out as Mr. Rogers, put on my sweater, change my shoes, and sing like a little parody. And then that just kind of evolved into the next one. And to the next one, I did like Andy Kaufman and did like the "Here I Come to Save the Day." And then the next one, I was Gallagher, and we tarped the whole crowd, and I smashed fruit on everything, and we tarped the whole stage. And then it got more elaborate and more elaborate. And then after, I think it was starting Halloween, we probably did like 15, 20 skits. And then we started playing with videos. So our first video was for Halloween. We did a Thriller. Justin and I reenacted a Thriller video. And then we learned the dance. So we played the video, and then we'd come out dressed as zombies and we do the dance, and then we go into a song. So then after that, it was play a video, do something on stage, go into the song. And it's usually bigger shows. Halloween was always like, for the most part, any Dirty Nelly show, because that was the biggest stage we played on at the time. So we always wanted a hell of a show for that one, and we wanted it to be one of a kind. So this way, the intro was there. People would get there early. It would be something that no one else would see, and that was the only time you'd see it, so you couldn't miss it. So that was kind of our philosophy. And then as social media grew and then videos started growing, we started making these videos, and they're a blast. I mean, we always wait till the last minute, so it's super stressful. But once they're done, we're like, there's hundreds of bands in the entire scene, and no one else does it. Not one has done it. And so then Justin LeBrecq came on the scene, and he's like video wizard. So I'm like, oh man, this is going to be amazing. So now we've done, let's see, we've reenacted 4 movies. They were like 18. The first couple we did was like Grease. It was like 18 minutes long. And we're like, this is hilarious. We're the funniest band ever. And then we played it, and after like a minute and a half, the bar was like, so anyways, what did you guys do last weekend? And we're like, no, this is genius. This is genius. This is comedy gold. So then we kind of learned how to scale it back a little bit. Now most are only a few minutes long. So we reenacted Grease, and I forgot Back to the Future, and
the Booze Brothers,
and a bunch of them. And they're all really funny. Most of them are on YouTube, or at least our Facebook videos. But then Brecky came along, and he's like a wizard. So we started getting into special effects. Was Wizard of Oz the first one we did?
I think so.
With Brecky, yeah.
With Wizard of Oz, now we had a green screen, and we're like, oh my God, this is amazing. And he's like adding puffs of smoke and like special effects. And we're like, this. So it's so much fun to do. I mean, that's just kind of like, once we started doing these videos, it just became another fun. It was our niche, which now whatever we did interactive, now we're taking it to a different level. So that helped us separate. But then they were so much fun to do, and most of them are really funny. They're, like sometimes some will do some skits or something that's kind of awkward, but we kind of like after a while found the comedic timing and kind of like really learned how to edit and put the stuff together. So when Brecky came along, we already had that in mind, but now he's like wicked talented. So we've done Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure. Was that the last year? This past one?
Last year.
So there's like, instead of
Back to the Future,
we have a porta potty that like goes down with electric, and we had like, he like green screened us in, and it was just so many fun things that we were able to do now that Brecky's there. So it's kind of evolved from just like getting people there early in skits to like full blown cinematic features.
But I mean, that does, again, give you your uniqueness that people love, and the reason they come back and want to see you and want to go to your Halloween shows. I mean, those are just fantastic.
So we had, for the last one, I think it was Nelly's that we played. We did the whole Bill and Ted's thing, and we came out, we all dressed as the characters, but I actually reached out to the Purple Potty people and got one delivered, and we shot some of the stuff for the Purple Potty for the video, and then had it transported. We asked them if we could have it all weekend empty. And then we actually, which they're bigger than I thought, they're like 4 phone booths. So we had to get it through Nelly's up, and we had the porta potty on stage. So we had the curtains closed. We opened the curtains. All of us were crammed in the porta potty together, like in Bill and Ted's, dressed as the character. So we came out first and introduced each one. We all came out of a porta potty and played the whole show with a massive porta potty on stage.
then we got it stuck. We got stuck going out afterward. Remember, you, me, and Jess, and on the road.
That sucked in the rain too.
I think one of my favorite ones was Mario and Luigi.
I spent probably a month hand drawing each Mario character, coloring them and cutting them out. At one point, the townhouse I was living at the time, the whole floor was just covered in gold coins, turtles, shells, mushroom heads. No, not those mushroom heads. And everything else. So we put it all together. We found it, like some high school did it. And we found that skit, and we're just like, this is going to be so funny. So we had all the sound effects. I'm like, all right, so all the stuff. We found the costumes. Mike was going to be Mario, and then morph into a big Mario, which was going to be me. And so like, this is all good, but now how do we time the sound effects? So Chris has been our tech wizard for 18 years. So he like queued up all these sounds and did like, as I was jumping, had like all the sounds queued up in time so like it was the actual video game.
On YouTube. All our videos are on there somewhere.
Yeah, you guys, all your YouTube videos are great.
Glow
So,
stick.
Freckles, you got to hold that in front of you because your green screen behind you
I know.
hides everything.
I was trying to. It was the See if
So, yeah, but block it
I
behind
know.
your backup.
no, no, I'm gonna
You gotta be like right in front of you. Yeah.
I'm gonna do no virtual background. This is
Yeah,
us
there you go.
inside the porter potty right before.
Holy crap.
Hey, hey guys, my phone's at 1%, so I'm gonna be gone in a second.
And actually, we're 21 minutes over, so we can, yeah, like I said, this hour goes by so quick. It's great. It's great. I love it. What I'm gonna leave it with this, like I do every show, every interview thing we do. What do you want to tell the fans? Chris, we'll start with you in case you fall off real quick. But what do you want to tell the fans? Make it quick. 10
We
seconds.
miss you. It's easy. We miss you. We miss all of you. That's basically it. We missed you and can't wait to play again.
Steve,
Um,
with Eddie in the background.
yes, stay safe and healthy, please. We want to see you again, and we will see you again. Just stay safe and healthy.
Freckles.
We'll see you guys at Huntley Fall Fest.
Fantastic. Justin.
Yeah, same thing those guys are saying, and just I don't think they realize how much we appreciate just, at least for me, just watching them have a good time makes me have a good time. So it kind of, what we're doing for them, they're doing for us too. So it's a partnership almost. So keep having fun because I love it.
Mike, how about you, man?
Thank you for keeping us here for 18 years. And God willing, if you'll have us, we'd like to play for another 18 years. And be safe and be well.
Jim.
Man, it's the online thing was nice and parenting. I need to get back on stage. Please help. Please help. Wear a mask for God's sakes. I need to get back on stage. No, for real, we need it. I knew everybody goes out for that escape to see live music and to have, Chris was saying, to have, forget about your shitty day or your boss or your fight with your spouse or debt or whatever else is going on in your life. But we need it as much as you guys do. It's our therapy too. It's our passion, and we miss it tremendously. We thank all the other bands. We're kind of cross supporting each other, which is also unprecedented at this level. And then to see, all of the fans watching our live streams, watching tonight, even though they're not out at festivals, thank you for still tipping all of this industry. We're doing whatever we can to keep you entertained, and you're tipping and you're supporting and you're sharing videos, and you're still, even though you're not coming out to see us, you're still supporting us through all of this, which is just incredible. And we can't thank you enough for that.
That's awesome. So again, you guys are going to be on stage on Friday, the 25th. You're with Rock Brigade, so it's going to be kind of a cool night. Rock Brigade opens for you guys, so that'll be fun. Dikey Park at the Huntley Park District grounds on the First National Bank of Omaha stage. So can't wait to see you guys. Thank you for spending your last
Thanks,
hour
Jim.
and
Thank
25
you.
minutes. We appreciate that. And we'll see you guys soon. Thanks again.
Love you, Jim.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Love you guys.
Love
See
you,
you
Jim.
guys.
Bye, everyone.
Later.